And we're off. Okay. So we'll start just by recapping for those who might just be tuning in, might be less familiar with the game. We'll talk about what you're going to be seeing. This game has 6 chapters for any percent. This is technically a no major glitches category. We just call it any percent out of convenience. The runners will be completing 17 levels for each chapter, so they'll be skipping the 3 longest ones for each of these chapters that they're going through. And you know, it's a pretty straightforward platformer. It really comes down mostly to not dying, so you're going to try to see very few deaths and very tight jumps just to kind of optimize level times. You will see the runners pausing intermittently, so that's usually to input something called an auto jump, which allows runners to basically jump on every frame where Meat Boy is touching a surface, which allows for kind of faster climbs in some places. It's basically like an auto fire kind of thing. And we've already seen that in action a couple of times. You'll see it a few more times throughout the run. It's kind of one of the bigger allowed pieces of tech for this category. And looking at who has an early lead so far, again, it's going to be kind of even for this first chapter. This is like the tutorial chapter. Everybody's done this chapter 1,000 times who's racing today, so we're very likely to see any significant errors as we're starting off here. It looks like, actually, kind of checking in with Galaxi here, it does look like Galaxi had a bit of a slip-up. It's hard to say what happened. Looks like something might have happened on 1-1, apparently. Not clear. Not clear what could have happened there, but Galaxi had a bit of a disadvantage, it looks like, starting out. We'll see if she catches up as the race progresses. She still has plenty of time. You know, this is a 20-minute category, roughly, so we're really just getting started here. Difficulties with 112. Okay. Yeah, it's too bad, but it's too early to call. Definitely, there's still plenty of ways in which these other runners could potentially screw up and lose a decent amount of time just to going for a strat that doesn't work out for them. So it's still very early on here. Let's see what happens. Moving into hospital now, we have fan physics coming into play. As we were talking about yesterday, the closer you get to a fan, the farther you get flung. So you want to get close to the fan for some cases, just so you can go pretty far distances, and that comes into play quite a bit here in this chapter. We have Fimbs with a slight lead, it looks like, over Jankmo at the moment. Pretty neck and neck. This level 2-8 that they're on has a pretty risky strat. I don't think either of them are going to go for it, but it does save about a second if you do a couple of fancy jumps. Fimbs taking a tough death on 2-9. These blobs going up and down the walls usually don't pose too much of a threat, but they can interfere with the pace every once in a while. And I think we just saw that go on with Fimbs. Let's see how they fare on Ghost Key. This is a very straightforward level. Pretty hard to die, but it does require pretty tight timing to get an optimal time, as those key blocks are disappearing. You want to make sure you time your jump so that Meat Boy doesn't hit one of the key blocks, which are still active and visible. So here we go. We are moving through the end of hospital. Most of these runners, again, not really giving an inch so far. Galaxi gaining a little bit of ground, maybe it looks like, but still a couple levels behind at the moment relative to these other runners. Otherwise, it looks like a 3-way dead heat for the other 3 at the moment. Jankmo using a really fun auto jump strat to go up this laser corridor really quickly. We're seeing the other runners do it too. Very fun. Pretty tricky to get that to get an optimal cycle there, but pretty easy to execute and pretty fun, like beginner friendly strat there. Now we're going on to Chad. And Chad has a skip that saves 5 seconds if these runners can get it. Let's see how it goes. Jankmo gets it, and that keeps the blood rising. Fimbs gets it as well, and Kaijuu no problem. Everybody nails Chad's skip, keeping things nice and even going into the 3rd chapter here. Alright, looks like we might have another really close race on our hands. We had several of those yesterday, with a lot of dramatic turnarounds at the last second. to determine the winner. So we'll see if we're treated to any more of those today. It's looking already pretty good for some close races here. Again, a lot of these runners very dedicated to the game, very competitive, and I think there's a pretty big drive to win this for a lot of these runners today. So seems like there's a lot at stake to win this first knockout tournament. And so now we have Salt Factory. So this has a lot of elevators, and it has a lot of conveyors. That's the word I was thinking of. Geez, it has a lot of conveyor belts that kind of propel Meat Boy up and along the ground. So these can be used again if you are able to get to the bottom of them and then take them all the way up. You can gain a lot of extra height and speed. We're doing a trick called Gap Skip right now. Jankmo and Fimbs, I believe, looks like they got it. Kaijuu's going for a safer strat, taking the third conveyor instead of the fourth one. Rules for elimination, so the lowest time gets eliminated for each of these races. So after this race, there will be 5 runners remaining. It is indeed anyone's game at the moment. Keep in mind we have 2 other runners who are off stream right now, Vorpal and Treadberg, who, again, very strong contenders to rank very highly in this, so we're very likely to see more of them later on in this tournament. And we're moving through the back half of Factory for a lot of these runners at the moment. Galaxy still looks like she's struggling to gain ground a little bit, but it's still a little bit too early to call in terms of kind of how she's going to fare for the rest of this race. Kaijuu is going through Mono. Mono has a really tricky skip. Let's see if Kaijuu gets it. Kaijuu does get Mono skip, and here we are going into 318 for Jankmo and Fimbs. Looks like both of them actually struggled to get the skip there. And it looks like Kaijuu as well, also struggling to get the skip on 318. All these runners striking out. You can move along the top of that building to save about 6 seconds, and it looks like none of them were able to execute that. And we have these runners here. Jankmo finishing up Brownie, moving into Hell with Fimbs. Let's see how Galaxy does with Mono. Galaxy's playing it safe, not going for the skip. Probably just wants to do a little bit of damage control here and maybe go for safer strats just in the interest of maybe catching up a little bit more just by dying less. Let's see how she does with 318. She's actually the only one to get 318. That's going to be a big advantage for her. It's going to save her 6 seconds over the other runners, so it's kind of a big deal. And now we have the other runners going into Hell. Fimbs nails Hex Skip first try. This is going to be a big skip that we see some of these runners executing. Jankmo gets it too. Neck and neck with Fimbs. Is Kaijuu going to go for it? This saves 3 seconds over waiting for the platform to come over to the other side. Kaijuu's playing it safe. That's going to set Kaijuu back 3 seconds. Potential small opening for Galaxy to catch up with Kaijuu. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, Galaxy is going to need to play pretty strongly here to start gaining ground on these other runners, because again, we're looking at pretty optimized runs from a lot of these runners, so we're very likely to see very few deaths kind of from here on out. So it's really going to come down to movement, and any death is going to be potentially very costly. Right. Can Galaxy get Hex? Galaxy's playing it safe as well. Again, maybe taking the safer route just in the interest of doing some catch-up, maybe expecting some of the other runners to fail some strats. Jankmo and Fimbs still very close right now. They're maybe within a second of each other going into 413. Neither of them going for the eyeball skip, which it can can save time, but it's definitely not the safest thing to go for. And we're thinking about race safe strategies, what's going to cause the least number of deaths and still be relatively fast. So a lot of them are kind of striking a middle ground here with the strats that they go for. Looks like Fimbs pulling out ahead a little bit of Jankmo here. as Galaxy is narrowing the lead, or narrowing the deficit between her and Kaijuu a little bit. Kaijuu, I think, needs to be a little bit careful with some strats here, just to preserve the lead that he has over Galaxy. As these runners are starting to wrap up Hell. Jankmo and Fimbs still kind of keeping it relatively close. We have you know, about a minute or so where we're just kind of chillaxing on this boss here, so we'll give these runners a chance to take a breath and then just kind of take it easy. Although I believe Jankmo did die on this boss yesterday, so anything's possible. I did say there was a very low chance of any of these runners dying yesterday, and I did end up eating my words because Jankmo did die on this boss. Now we have Kaijuu joining Jankmo and Fimbs on Little Horn. Galaxy maybe about 15 seconds off of Kaijuu right now, still in the running for sure, especially if Kaijuu has a rough Rapture and Galaxy has a particularly good Rapture. And we saw a little bit of that gap closing during Hell, so it'll be interesting to see how Galaxy fares in Rapture for sure. We have Fimbs jumping into Rapture with Jankmo. Let's see if they go for the same route. Yep, they're both starting with 5-1. Really risky because it actually starts with a whiteout due to the way the previous boss ends. Like sometimes the white screen can still appear going into another level, which you see on Kaiju's screen. The white screen started to appear, but we skipped the rest of it, so it kind of appears when we start Rapture. It's kind of a weird small glitch that happens. Kaijuu going for the 5-2 route. And we see that again, the remaining white screen from the previous boss showing up. So it looks like both Fimbs and Jankmo had a bit of a struggle on 5-1, but it didn't really change the dynamics of their race too much. It seems like they're still very, very close at the moment. This could get interesting. Jankmo going for a riskier setup on 5-4, Fimbs doing the conventional strat, and they're going to finish at about the same time. Like literally frame tied. What is going on here? What is happening? Galaxy closing the gap a little bit with Kaijuu. They were briefly just on the same level there, so this is going to be interesting to see if Galaxy can really start to pull it together for Rapture after kind of a shaky start. Jankmo and Fimbs are essentially frame tied, it looks like. This is wacky. This is a little bit too close to call, yet again. Both of them get the key grab. Looked a little bit shaky for Fimbs, but Fimbs was able to get the key. And they both exit to menu at roughly the same time. This is nuts. Jankmo taking a death on 5-9. These abominations, again, have very weird jump behaviors, so sometimes they will just jump when they want to. Fimbs also dying there, which gives Jankmo a little bit of a lead, because Fimbs had a longer death on 5-9. These two runners seem to be trading deaths right now, so every time one of them dies, it looks like the other one takes a death too. We do have to remember that, so Galaxy is doing, it looks like Galaxy's doing 5-1 through 5-17, Kaiju's doing 5-2 through 5-18. So Kaijuu will be doing a level at the end that Galaxy will not be doing. And it looks like Jankmo's pulling out a little bit ahead of Fimbs here. Fimbs maybe having a little bit of a rough time with Rapture just because of Rust. Jankmo is certainly the more active runner at the moment, although Fimbs does de-rust notoriously quickly for events like these. But this is where you can really start to see the Rust affect performance, definitely more so than the other chapters. Rapture is very unforgiving with its platforming and the expectations that it has on speedrunners. It's a very demanding chapter. And here we go. again, Jankmo and Fimbs almost deadlocked, although Fimbs does die on 517. This could spell a little bit of trouble for Fimbs in terms of maintaining this this very tight race between the two of them up top. Galaxi's still not out of the running yet. Kaijuu is performing pretty well on this chapter, but Galaxi has also been doing pretty well, so it looks like they've been roughly about the same in terms of performance for this chapter. As Jankmo is the first to enter Larry, again, we want all three of these Larry heads to jump into the saw so that the boss ends. There's no telling when they jump. Ideally, you can get a 2-cycle, so 2 of the Larry heads jumping in the same cycle, but that does not always happen. Who will be the first out here? 2 of Jankmo's heads have jumped. I think Fimbs might have 1 or 2 more, I can't really tell. Jankmo's first out of Larry, and Fimbs actually also had 2 who jumped, and that makes 3. So they are, again, finishing at roughly the same time here. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright, as Galaxi and Kaijuu are now effectively tied, will Galaxi just luck out here and pull ahead of Kaijuu? Kaijuu, I think, still has 2 heads to jump. Yep. Galaxi, it looks like she just has 1. This might be good news for Galaxi. Who's gonna jump first? Nobody's getting great Larrys. This is oh, Galaxi's the first out. Oh no, Kaiju's getting stuck on Larry. This is really unfortunate. But the third Larry had finally jumped for Kaijuu there, so it might just come down to how these 2 runners do on end. This is going to be close. Galaxi really has to make sure that she just seals the deal here. We're looking for very tight jumps and potentially deathless end here from both of these runners. Oh boy, that was an intense Larry all around. Let's see how Jankmo and Fimbs are doing. Jankmo's first into Omega, the final level before the boss. It has a notorious keyless skip that they're all going to go for. A lot of these runners are very familiar with keyless, but it can still trip you up. Jankmo gets it. Will Fimbs get it? Fimbs gets it as well. Alright, this is anybody's race between Jankmo and Fimbs. Although Jankmo does have an advantage here. Deaths aren't super likely to happen on the final boss, but they still can happen. Especially with escape. Escape deaths can just randomly occur. So this is not a foregone conclusion for Jankmo, despite having a couple of seconds advantage over Fimbs. Alright. And where are we at? Galaxi is actually going to be ahead of Kaijuu going into the final boss. It looks like Vorpal and Shredbird both finished with an 1825 and 1901 respectively. Vorpal again putting on another strong performance there. Yep, try to avoid race spoilers in the chat if you can for the other 4 runners. I think it's fine to spoil the times of the runners we don't see, but just try to keep it on the DL for the other runners who you see on stream. Alright, Jankmo's the first out of this bunch, followed closely by Fimbs. And Galaxi looks like she might be taking it over Kaijuu. Try to keep it spoiler-free in chat if you can. Alright, and I know we are working with just some logistical stuff in terms of who we can show on stream and things like that, so we'll hopefully figure out a way to swap out runners next time around that we try this, but in the meantime, Galaxi's finishing up. Kaijuu is close behind. Looks like these runners are finishing strong with probably 18 and 19 minute times respectively. Let's see what the final times are. Vorpal finishes first with an 18:25. And soon we'll be able to show everybody. Yeah, that's true. GG's to all the runners here. Vorpal finishes first with an 18:25. Shredberg with a strong performance, 19:01. Jankmo finishing third with a 19:16. Fimbs with a 19:20. Galaxi 19:53 and Kaijuu with a 20:07 according to race time. These are all unofficial times. We'll be getting official times updated in our leaderboards in just a couple minutes. GG's, y'all. That leaves 5. Unfortunately, we are saying goodbye to Kaijuu, who again did a wonderful job, finishing 6th as the 7th seed, so GG's. Very, very well played. We'll be starting up the next round in just a couple minutes. Now that we're just down to 5, we'll be turning this around pretty quick here from here on out. We'll take a couple minutes and get the leaderboards updated, and then we will jump into our next one. Right. Yeah, honestly, Kaijuu, unfortunately getting stuck with a bad Larry. Yeah, so Galaxy, definitely lucked out there with Kaijuu getting a bad Larry. Although Galaxy, again, really started to narrow the gap there in Hell and Rapture, especially, so yeah, do that. Alright, let's see, my friends. That leaves 5 runners remaining for the second round of the knockout tournament. Okay. Right. So, as we're updating our leaderboards, we are starting to ready up for round 2 of our top 6. Let's take a look at who is going to be in that. We have Vorpal, again, putting on a 17:34 yesterday. I wonder if we'll see another sub-18 from Vorpal today. That'd be pretty nuts. That would be pretty nuts. We have Galaxy, again, who won the first 2 races yesterday. Having a bit of a hard time, but pulling it together at the end to stay in the running. We have Fimbs, again, one of our potential sub-18 contenders here, sitting with an 18:04 PB. Jankmo, a very active runner at the moment with an 1812, and then Shredberg with a 1759. So this is really among the best of the best here that we have left with us. And it looks like everybody's readied up in the race time channel, so I think we're going to get started with round 2. Good luck to all of the racers here, as we are looking at our top 5 seeds. We see the return of Vorpal on stream this time around. We will be we won't be able to see Fimbs, but we will. I'll be checking in with him. Pull up his stream at the moment, so we can kind of periodically see how he's doing. All right, and the race time race is in progress. We will start to see the action on stream momentarily. Here we go again, y'all. Good luck to all the racers.